kids, my name is Kiran Gagneja and you're welcome to Dihybrid. Today we are going to study about the principles of inheritance and variation. This chapter is of the unit genetics. Now if we talk about genetics, it is incomplete if we do not discuss about Sir Mendel. Now who was Sir Mendel? Sir Mendel was a scientist who was born in 1822. He worked on a pea plant for 6 to 7 years. The amazing thing in Sir Mendel is he was neither a botanist nor a zoologist. He was a mathematician. Sir Gregor Johann Mendel. So he was born in 1822. He was a mathematician and he worked on pea plant for 6 to 7 years. Based on his research, a new field was born, and this field is what? Genetics. Genetics was born because of Sir Mendel, so he is known as the father of genetics. Now let's talk about Mendel. Yes, he was born in 1822 and he worked on a pea plant, but he did not got success when he was alive. When he was alive, his work was not recognized. It remained unrecognized for many years. Now, what were the reasons why his work was unrecognized? Let's discuss about that. Reasons why his work was not recognized when he was alive. The first point is that he was a mathematician. Because he was a mathematician and he gave his work in a mathematical way, so biologists were not able to accept his work. They were not convinced by his work. The second point and the main point is his work was published in a local journal and it was not distributed globally to the scientists of the entire world. They were unknown to the work of Mendel, so he did not get success when he was alive. The third point is also, this is the first point, the second point was his work was not distributed globally. The third point is that factors were not understood by biologists. Mendel talked about factors. Now what are factors? They are the carrier of information or the characters from one generation to the next generation. Today we know factors as genes. The new name of factors is gene. It was originally called as factors by Mendel. Mendel talked about factors that carry the information or the character from the parent to the offspring. Right? But these factors were not understood by the biologist. So these are the reasons why his work remained unrecognized when he was alive. Now, his work was rediscovered by three scientists. Three scientists rediscovered his work 16 years after his death, that is in 1900. In 1900, three scientists, the names were Hugo de Vries, Carl Correns and Shinmark. These three scientists rediscovered his work. Hugo de Vries, Carl Correns and Shinmark. These three scientists rediscovered his work in 1900, and when they rediscovered his work was a great success. Now, what are the reasons why his work was a great success? Now, the first point is he did his work in a very systematical way. He analyzed his work in a very systematical way. So, the reasons why he got success. The first reason is he analyzed his work in a systematic way. This is the reason why his work was most accepted. Now, the second point is that his work had a large sample size. Now, what is a large sample size? If I say that I have experimented on 10 people, right? And another one has experimented on 1000 people. Now, whose sample size is bigger? A has experimented on 10 people and B has experimented on 1000 people. Whose sample size is bigger? 1000. So, which is the most accepted one? This one. Large sample size created it more accepted. It was more accepted because of his large sample size. Right? Now, the third point is he chose contrasting characters. The characters in the pea plant he chose was contrasting. Now, what is contrasting? If I talk about contrasting, what is contrasting? It means different, right? Contrasting, it means different from one another, right? If I say that 5 feet is tall and 4 feet 10 inch is short, do you think it's contrasting? Actually, there is no much difference between them, right? So we cannot call it contrasting. But if I say that 6 feet is tall and 4 feet is short, so there is a difference which we can see, which we can measure, right? So this is contrasting. There is exactness in the contrasting characters, right? It creates no ambiguity. It is giving a clear perception, right? So his characters were contrasting. This was also a positive point. Now the next point is no reference of linkage. In the pea plant, by luck or by intentionally Mendel did, there was no linkage found in the pea plant, and it was also a plus point to the research of the Mendel, right? So these are the reasons why his work was most accepted and is used even today. So why he chose pea plant? Now the reasons why he chose pea plant, the reasons behind it. Reasons of choosing pea plant. Why he chose pea plant? He was a priest in the church, right? He had to take care of his plants. He saw that the pea plant has a short lifespan. It completes its life cycle in 3 to 4 weeks. So he experimented on a pea plant and it made his research easier, right? So the reason why he chose pea plant, the first point is that it has a short life span. It completes its life cycle in 3 to 4 weeks, right? Now the second point is that pea plant show contrasting characters. pea plants show contrasting characters. Now what is meant by contrasting? If I say that 5 feet is short and 5 feet 2 inch is tall, is there much difference between them? No, there is not much difference between both of them. So it is not contrasting. Now if I say 6 feet is tall and 4 feet is short, so you can see the difference easily. There is a clear perception and no ambiguity. Let's take another example for that. If I say that this flower is red and this flower is pink, red and pink are alike colors, they are not much different. So this is not also contrasting. Now if I say I've taken a flower which is red and another one which is white, so we can call them contrasting because they are entirely different from each other. We can distinguish them. We can distinguish them exactly, right? So there is no inexactness between them, and it creates a clear perception. So the Mendel chose a pea plant which show contrasting characters, right? Now the third point is seeds are easy to handle. Now the seeds of the pea plants are easy to handle and they do not show dormancy, right? So this is the reason why he chose pea plant. Now we'll discuss about some of the contrasting characters that you will also have to learn in the pea plant. The contrasting characters in the pea plant, the characters and different traits. Now if I talk about the stem height, the first plant that Mendel chose was tall and the second was dwarf, or you can say short. Now if I talk about position of flower, it was axial in one plant and terminal in another plant, right? Now if I talk about the color of flower, it was violet in one plant and white in another. Now the seed color and seed shape and pod color and pod shape. Now these two can confuse you because here we are writing the dominant characters and here we are writing the recessive characters. What is dominant and what is recessive, I'll tell you. But before that, we'll have to discuss the color of the seed in the dominant trait was yellow and the color of the pod in the dominant trait was green, or we can say is green, right? And in the recessive is vice versa, right? And if I talk about the shape, the seed shape was round in the dominant case and wrinkled in the recessive case, and the shape of the pod was inflated in the dominant one and constricted or wrinkled, you could say. Constricted means wrinkled, right? So constricted in the recessive case, right? So what is a pod? Yes, what is a pod? You would be confused. Pod is the green part that carry the seeds. Some of you would be aware of that, I know. And other things are clear to you? This is axial. Yeah, axial and terminal are also confusing. So what is axial? If the flowers shoot out from the stem, so it is what? Axial. And if it is at the top, it is terminal, right? Axial and terminal. Now, pod is also clear. Inflated shape of the pod. This shape is inflated, right? And if I talk about constricted, this is constricted. It means somewhat wrinkled, right? So this is the difference between the characters. Now what is dominant and what is recessive? We are talking of the traits that are dominant and the others are recessive. Now if I take an example from your practical life, so if a jinn comes to you and asks you a wish, you want to eat something, you are very hungry, right? So you want to eat two things. The first one is pizza and the second one is burger. Suppose, just suppose, right? So a jinn comes to you and he asks you to make a wish, but a single wish, right? And you want to have two things. The first one is pizza and the second one is burger. Now if you are carving for pizza more, right? So you will demand for a pizza, right? So let's suppose that you are carving for a pizza. So pizza in this case, my drawing is not good, okay? So this is a pizza which you have demanded for, and the burger remained what? The burger remained in your heart. So sad na? So the trait that expresses itself, the wish that expressed itself in your case, right, is what? Dominance. You asked for pizza, so this was a dominant carving. This was a dominant wish of yours, right? So this is what? Dominant. If we cross a plant that is tall, Mendel crossed a plant that was tall with a plant that was short, right? So what he saw in the first generation, all the plants, all the offsprings of this parents were tall. Now where is the dwarf character gone? Mendel was surprised that where is the character of the dwarf plant gone, right? So he did selfing, right? Selfing, it means crossing with the same plant, right? What is a cross? When we talk about a cross, I hope dominant is clear to you. Let's take another example for dominant and recessive. These are alleles. Now what is allele? Another question arises. So let's talk about the terms first, right? First talk about gene. What is a gene? It is a functional unit of inheritance. It is responsible for passing the character from the parent to the offspring. Now the second term is allele. Now what is a allele? It is a different form of a gene. If I say that this is a gene for the height of a plant, so we'll write it this, but this will give a tall height to the plant. This is another gene which will give a short height to the plant. So they both will give height to the plant, right? But different heights. It will give a tall height and it will give a short height. So these are different form of a gene. We call it allele, right? Now the next is the types of allele. The factors, or we can say the gene, they occur in pair, right? So they will come in pair. This is what? The height of a plant, right? And it comes in pair. If it is alike, They both resemble each other. They are same. So we call them homozygous. Right? Another example of homozygous is this. But in the F1 generation, what Mendel saw, the height of the plant is tall. But what alleles were present in that plant was this. So these are the forms which are different. These are different, right? So these are heterozygous. So the one that are alike, that are same, they are homo, and the one that are different are hetero. Is it clear? Homo means same and hetero means different. Now next, what is a cross? If we are talking of a cross, it means that we are talking of reproducing or breeding a plant, right? So whenever we are talking of a cross, we are talking of reproducing or breeding a plant. And if we are talking of selfing, it means we are breeding the same plant, right? Or the plants of the same generation. In the cross, the plants are different, and in selfing, the plants are same. This is the difference between cross and selfing. Now, what is a hybrid? Hybrid is the offspring that will come from a cross, right? When we are making a cross, the offspring will be a hybrid, right? If we talk of a single character at one time, it will be monohybrid. Like if we are talking about the height of a plant, this and this, we are crossing them, right? So we are talking of monohybrid. Mono, it means one. It means we are taking one character at one time. Now, if I talk about dihybrid, it means two. It means that we are taking two characters at one time. Now, the characters we can suppose to be the shape of the seed was round and the color was yellow. We can cross it with this. So we are taking two characters at one time. So we are making our dihybrid cross. Now the next is trihybrid. Tri, it means, as you already know, tri, it means three. And if we are talking of a trihybrid cross, it means that we are talking of three characters at one time, right? Let us take the characters, the height of the stem, the shape and the color of the seed, right? If we cross the plant having these characters, then this is a trihybrid cross. Is it clear to you guys? I think we are moving too fast. So let's discuss the next topics in the next video. If you really like my video, please click on thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.